Hello, everybody. This is the learning lesson for the online practice module. So we've been talking about practice routines and the elements that are included in that. And that's consistent schedule, making sure we're keeping a regular practice, quality over quantity, making sure that what we do is good versus just doing a bunch of a bad thing. A physical and mental warm-up, getting our mind and body centered before we get into whatever we're doing. Technical exercises, making sure that we're doing our scales, doing our etudes, all of those things that help us build those general musicianship skills that we need. Repertoire procedure, how we learn new pieces, including breaks in our practice routines. Instrument care, what do we need to do to keep our instruments best in shape? And objective planning. And this last one we're going to focus on today. So objective planning, to go somewhere, you need to have a destination. Obvious, right? If you're going to go to the store, you need to know that you're going to the store, or else you're going to end up at the library or at somebody else's house or something. You got to know where you're going. This is an example of thinking, then doing. You think, oh, I need to go to the store. So then you go to the store. Oftentimes, though, we do before we think. For example, political issues. Well, if I'm already doing this thing, if I'm already marching for pro-life, or if I'm already marching for pro-abortion, then I must believe I'm pro-life or I'm pro-abortion. Another thing, well, I'm already lying, so I must be a bad kid. Or maybe it's at lunch. Should we let this new person sit at our table? Well, my friends are already excluding them, so I guess we shouldn't. These are all examples of doing before you think. So here's an example for you. Sam plays the saxophone, and to practice, he runs through all of his pieces from bottom to top over and over again. Is this an example of do first or think first? That's right, it's do first. If you'd think first, he would think a little bit more on what he needs to do. Because if he just does everything, it's not specific. He's not targeting one thing. So when we're trying to design effective practicing, the first step is objective planning. We need to have specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and timely goals that we want whenever we're in the practice room. Specific, meaning that we're not practicing the whole piece like Sam's doing. We're going to target each one of those individual places that need some work. Measurable. How do we figure out if we've gotten better at that? We'll get to that in a little bit. Achievable. Can we actually do the thing that we're trying to practice? Or do we need to build some more technique or chops or something before we can do that? Is it relevant? Do we actually need to practice this? And is it timely? Are we doing this practicing in the most efficient manner possible? So let's figure out Sam's objective. Was he running, when he was running through the pieces, was he targeting a specific thing? No. How about measurable? Did he know what he was improving? Probably not. Is it achievable? Probably yes. Whatever he's doing, he probably can achieve. We all, whenever we put our minds and apply ourselves to something, can usually get done what we need to. Is it relevant? Well, if he's practicing his pieces, it's probably relevant because he needs to practice for band. Is it timely? Is he doing this practice in the most efficient way possible? That one's also going to be no. Running through things isn't the best way to practice. So as we went through these SMART goals, our specific, measurable, and timely are really the most important ones when it comes to practicing. So let's focus on those. Specific. When we're thinking about what we need to practice, what is it specifically that we need to work on? Is it really the whole piece or just certain parts that we need to practice? Measurable. How do I know if I've actually made some progress? What tools can I use to track my progress? This could be like a metronome. You could record yourself before you practice and then after you practice to see if there was any improvement. And is my practice timely? Is what I'm doing the most efficient way to improve this? Can I change my objective or change the way that I'm practicing it to meet my goals in a faster way? That way I don't have to spend as much time in the practice room. So when you're trying to figure these things out, figure out how can I practice better, there's several resources. You've got, maybe you have some music people in your life, your parents, your siblings played some instruments, or maybe your even friends in band might know some things. You can ask them questions about, hey, how do I practice this one thing? You got any recommendations? You could look at your method books that we cover, that you use in class. Right in the front, there's all of the resources on how to set up your instrument, how different ways to practice. You go through the book and see different ways to work on the things that you're looking for. You could use the internet. YouTube is a great resource. You can just type in whatever you need and it'll pop up a whole bunch of videos. However, you'll have to watch out that there's good and bad videos on what you need to do. So I would check out the recommendations that I have in the module or in the classroom, or you can ask me. I am also your resource. You can ask me any questions as it regards to practicing. I can try to help you out with that, or let you know if one of those YouTube videos is a good resource for you. But there's one more. Yourself. You are a resource. Your previous practice, you pretty well know if it was good or if it was bad. And you can reflect on that and try things out, test out practicing strategies, be like, oh, did this work? Did this not work? And then you can change something up. And then as you keep trying things, you can see what works for you and how to best practice for yourself. So all of this is just driving point home. Objective planning encourages quality practicing, and it makes us spend less time in the practice room. And that's why it's really important for our practice routines. So now you can go through the rest of the module. Don't forget to complete your essay. That'll take a little bit of work. And then go through the rest of the lessons and finish up the module. Hope you have a good day.